Hello, it's me. So here I'm doing a Facebook Live, and it's Love Notes Spoken, and it's called Keeping My Word. And these Love Notes spoken are uploading onto my YouTube channel, so you can catch up with them there and the other ones that I've done as I gather these little snippets of my life and my explorations into my inner being, for want of a better phrase. And so keeping my word. So this is a delicious thing. I love to talk about this because a long time ago I went on a course that was all about looking at your life and poking around in the bits, and it quite shocked me. To say the least, it shocked me, but I kept going back and I kept getting more information and more insights into myself, and one of the things was an encouragement to have a daily agreement and keep your word. And I found this quite interesting because keeping my word to myself, I thought I was pretty good at that, but it turns out I wasn't. So at the moment, I've got a few keeping my word agreements, you know, like doing it come hell or high water, I'll keep my word to myself. So I've got an agreement, for instance, of a 10-minute walk every day. And what I notice that sometimes because this is where all the power lives, this is where all the power lives in here, in as much as determining whether I keep my word or not, because the arguments that go on in here. And there's interesting things like that I feel that I'll create stuff that I don't even know consciously that I'm creating self-sabotage. And if you've followed me for a bit, you'll know that I work with the Enneagram, and the Enneagram is a beautiful personality typing tool that allowed me to see where I was creating my life from the coping strategy that I developed as a child, as a result of feeling whatever you feel as a child. There's that moment where, I don't remember it, but there is a moment where we feel unsafe in some way. And then because of that, we develop a personality type that mitigates against that unsafeness. But actually it's just a program. We aren't that worried person that we were when we were like 6 months to 2 years or whatever. We evolve. But we still carry this main sort of thread of the basic insecurity that we felt when that wiring got laid down very early in life. So that sits in the unconscious, that thread, that sort of behaviour. Oh, in times of deep stress, we'll revert back to that. And as you become older, you become a bit more aware of yourself and you think, here I go back into that old pattern. But our body wants to live, you know, and for want of a better phrase, I'll call it the ego. The ego is really keen on us surviving. It doesn't really mind whether we enjoy our life or whether we get pleasure or feel fulfilled. It'll just keep us alive. And if that means sabotaging, unconsciously sabotaging our higher part of who we are and what we're asking ourselves to do in terms of keeping our word to ourselves, it'll do it. You know, and I can see it in other people, and it's harder to see it in myself, you know. And as a coach, you know, I'm pretty good at sorting out where people's limitations, their perceptions of their limitations. Sometimes it's really clear, but sometimes they're well evolved enough to bypass that, and yet the self-sabotaging childhood programming part of us, the unconscious part of us, that gets in the way. It just gets in the way of us, of keeping our word to ourselves. And you know, so I've got a 10-minute walking agreement, and sometimes my body will throw in a bad foot. You know, and it's like, okay, so I've got this walking agreement, so why have I got a bad foot? As an example. So for me, it's about recognising that part of me that is sabotaging my greatness, if you like. The part of my ego that says, oh, Sunday, you know, like, don't do it, you know, like, keep safe, just keep your head under the parapet, don't rock the boat, don't push yourself, and oh, you don't have to do it today. You know those arguments we have in our heads? You don't need to do that. Nobody will know. Nobody will know if you don't do it. So if you've got a daily agreement, because the thing for me is like keeping my word to myself. I feel good at the other side of doing what I said I was going to do. And if I don't do it, and there's loads of reasons why I might choose not to do what I can't be asked. That's a very common one. It's, for example, we're walking, it's raining, my legs hurt, I'm tired, I haven't got time. You know, all very legitimate reasons that our unconscious or even our conscious throws up to stop us feeling good. It's interesting, isn't it, to look at it like this, because who am I letting down if I don't keep my word to myself? And the only person I'm letting down is me. And then I don't feel so good when I don't keep my word to myself. The times when I don't do it in the past, well, maybe even now currently, there'll be a time when I'll say, I can't be arsed. And when I do that to myself, I realise that I'm killing off my spirit. And if I hadn't have known that, I would have continued through my life just doing me, doing what I want, when I wanted, you know, not keeping my word to myself. There's something very empowering, and even more than that, something really sovereign. No, not that even. Sacred, that's the word. There's something really sacred about making an agreement and then agreeing to do it. I remember somebody once said that, you know, when public speaking on the stage, and he said that sometimes the only part of him that wants to get onto the stage to do the public speaking are his legs. His legs are his ally. His legs take him to the stage, and there's every fibre in his body going, no, let's not do this, let's not do this. And I've had times like that, you know, when you're really up against your programming, let's not do this. And when I've given in, I don't feel good. You know, when I listen to that voice, you know, it comes dressed in so many ways. Oh, it's not the right time. I don't feel like doing it. You know, it's not calling me. All those semi-spirit. I'm not feeling the vibe. You know, all those sort of spiritual phrases that a lot of people who are working on themselves will bring in. You know, and usually it's the discomfort that we're trying to avoid. The fear of doing something. It's interesting, isn't it? You could be scared of not doing something that serves you. You know, it's like, you know, if somebody's inviting you to do something and you don't, a course or something, and you don't get the vibe that it's going to be for you, and yet you trust the person and they got value from it, and you still say no. And what's going on there? You know, yeah, no, it's not vibing with me. It don't feel right. It's not the right time. And unless we look underneath, unless I look underneath, so what's really going on? What am I avoiding? And a lot of people will avoid growing because we have to change our beliefs about ourselves. We have to change our perceptions. So watching out for that unconscious self-sabotage that pops up. Like if you make an agreement, something simple like having 4 glasses of water a day, and you don't remember to do it. Like, so who was driving me? If I made that agreement, who was driving me at that point? It's not easy. It's not easy working on yourself. It's not easy choosing a daily agreement. And some of them are lovely, like the ones that I have a kind and loving act, you know, a conscious kind and loving act. So this isn't something like I can remember at sort of at the end of the day. Oh, which was my kind and loving act? Which shall I choose as that and put it, you know, tick it off as done? This is about being in the moment when you're doing it, whether it's picking up litter, holding the door open, saying hello to somebody. It doesn't have to be big things. Picking up, did I say picking up litter? Maybe I did. You know, those, and that, for me, the thing about keeping my word is that I feel better after I've done it. You know, setting myself a daily agreement to do whether I want to or not. And I tell you what, the best ones are when you're in bed. You suddenly remember that you haven't done it. That's where the stretch is absolutely like building the muscle about trusting yourself. Knowing that you can keep your word to yourself, and every fibre in your body's going, no, it doesn't matter, you don't need to do it now, you know, just let it go, you can do it double tomorrow, you know. All those little bargaining things that we do that seem to try and help us get back to feeling good again. But think how good you'd feel if you thought, oh, do you know, I haven't washed up, I haven't tidied up, I haven't put away. And you're in bed and you're just about to nod off and it goes bing. Your higher self has come to support you at that moment. And it's go, you haven't done what you said you were going to do. And you go, oh, shush. And then there's this little argument that's going on, isn't there? You know you feel better if you do it. It'll all be there in the morning. And then there's this, oh, no, don't bother. You just get up early. You know, like you're nearly asleep. You need your rest. You know, it's like this... Reminds me of that story about the two wolves, you know, the one that the grandfather says that, you probably know it. It's a Native American story about the grandfather talking to the grandchildren and saying that inside us there's this fight going on between two wolves, and one wolf represents all the loving things and the other wolf represents all the fearful things. And he says this fight's going on in all of us, this Shalashanta type thing. And one of the children asks him which wolf will win, and the grandfather says the one that you feed. So if we're always sort of like avoiding or thinking, oh, I can't be arsed, and most of us just muddle through on a mixture of it all, you know. Sometimes we can get out of bed and do the washing up, and sometimes we can't, you know, or we choose not to. That's probably more accurate, because actually it is a choice. But I've only done it once or twice. I've had to get out of bed because I haven't kept my word around an agreement. And it's tough. And yet afterwards, the breakthrough of overcoming that smaller part of me that just wants to have my life easy. But then it's not, because it's tough. It's tough either way, isn't it? It's tough doing the washing up and it's tough not doing the washing up. So, but which feels better, you know? I'm using washing up as an example here. Yeah, because last night I was really tired after my my self-imposed triathlon. I say triathlon in inverted commas. And, you know, I could have so easily left the dishes and I didn't. I washed them. I washed them up. So... yeah, if you want to stretch into feeling good about yourself, even on the days when you feel rotten and you still do your agreement, there's some sort of shift, soul shift inside your body. It's an expansion. I did it. I kept my word. I didn't buy into my self-sabotage voice. I kept my word. And it is very empowering. So I recommend it. I recommend it highly to have yourself a daily agreement. Something that's really easy to do, like reading two pages of a book, or 10 minutes dancing, or something that's easy and that you enjoy. You know, 10 minutes of listening to music. Something that you enjoy. Picking up a piece of litter, saying hello to a stranger. There's oodles of things to get creative around a daily agreement. And keeping my word, keeping your word to yourself is such a sacred, honouring acknowledgement of the human being that you are. So have a great day. And like I say, if you like Sunday's Love Notes, I've got a book coming out. I've got an email list. I upload these ones that I speak onto YouTube, so you can see them there. And there's bits and bobs of other stuff on my YouTube channel as well. So have a lovely day, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.